Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey. Yeah, we're waiting for a couple of folks to check in.
Have you heard from Karen? Is she?
Yeah, no, I've got her on the phone here.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Is it thundering out there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a blistering day.
Yeah.
Alone, I
Worse
think,
if you're not in Shrewsbury.
I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just give it a minute here. 7. Waiting for Bert. Um, Leslie. Hello? He's having trouble getting on.
Leslie's having trouble?
Yeah. There he is.
Hello, Leslie here.
Hey, welcome.
I'm making my supper, so I'm going to mute myself.
Yeah. Well, we got everybody on board. Hi, Bert. Are you there? Hello, Bert.
Oh,
Hey.
okay.
Okay. Great. Okay, we're all here. Let's get started at 7:02 p.m. I guess there's no public comment today, so let's move on to the minutes. Let me find those. Hold on one second. The minutes for January 10th. Let's see.
On that. I mean, I really don't remember specifically what I said or didn't say, but it said on there that I insisted that we give the Williamstown Art Center or whatever a deadline for completing restoration by June 2025. So maybe I did, but I don't remember it. That's all I can say.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know why. I don't wonder what the reason would have been, but does the funding run out or something like
I have no idea, but
that? All right.
I just assumed that it was. I don't think the comment makes any difference at this point.
Okay. Yeah.
Either way, but
My recollection, it's not the CPA funding, which has a deadline to start the project, but it doesn't, there's no requirement about a deadline to finish the project.
Okay.
My recollection was, I think that you were concerned that if we didn't at least provide them with a date that we wanted it by, it might drag on.
Oh, okay.
But I think it was expressed in the way of like, we should be offering a date by which we would like it back by, and then they can push back on that if there is more work it needed. I seem to remember that was the discussion.
Yeah, so maybe something more like suggested rather than insisted, because I don't know why I would insist, but I don't know. That
maybe
makes more sense.
maybe it was my emphasis I can change that.
Yeah, just to
Yeah.
make it a little softer, because I don't know why I'd have to feel like there was an absolute mandate to have it back by June. I'll
Mhm.
just,
Nice if it was back by June.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, can't find this thing now. What is going on? Hmm. Give me a second.
Sure.
Second, yeah, let me get that up on the screen. Why isn't that showing up? Oh, it's interesting. All right. It's not sharing. It's not, it doesn't want to share the document. One second. See. Interesting. It's there, but it's not. Hmm. Whoa. Oh. Okay, so should see on the screen
Yep.
the minutes. Okay, in case you have any, so I'll shift that around. How did you want to word that again?
Even just like something like suggested rather than insisted. It's the
Yeah.
insisted that seems
Yeah.
odd to me, but like I
Yeah,
said, I don't remember well, so thanks.
okay. Anything else on this one? This is the minutes for the January 10th. Karen, you got a copy of this?
January? Yes.
Yes. Any thoughts? No?
No.
Okay. Um, okay, if there are none, no more comments, then I move to approve these minutes. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, good.
Okay. Great. Okay, so we got the minutes.
We have to vote still.
Got to vote. Going round, going around. Let's hear from Zervanka. Karen? Yeah, we're voting on the minutes for January 10th. So
Huh?
what's that again? No, we need to approve these minutes. We had not approved them. And so we're backlogged with those minutes. Yeah, I guess anyway, yeah, Miriam retired right around that time. We lost Miriam. So what do you say about the minutes?
Aye.
Okay, Fernando, yeah. Except for? Okay. Fernandez,
Aye.
yes. Geddes, I, Pangallo,
Aye.
and Stone.
Aye.
Okay. So the minutes for.
I only gave you the minutes yesterday, so I realize people may not have had time to. look at
Yeah,
them.
why don't we, yeah, Karen didn't get a copy either.
Yeah.
So we'll
Okay,
table that for next time.
sorry.
No worries. It's plenty of time here. So we've got up next. We have
Update on guide board and gazebo.
there you go. Yes, I'm trying to find the list of. So update on the guide board and gazebo. Yeah, Mateo, I guess, is the big news. You submitted that proposal for the CPA.
Yeah, I mean, I have no additional information from Williamstown about the status of the guide board.
Okay.
But as far as the gazebo project goes, you know, I drafted that CPA grant. We are allowed to apply off cycle, so even though it's well past the deadline, you know, we can still apply to the committee. The timing issue is that the committee itself doesn't issue the money. It has to go to a town meeting. So we would be waiting for either next annual town meeting, or it sounds like we're probably going to have a special town meeting, at which point, you know, the grant request could be voted on. But CPA money can't be spent retroactively. So if we want to use the CPA money for this, which I think we do, it would have to be, we would only be able to start work on the gazebo after town meeting approved the money.
Very good. Bert, any
Don't have anything new. I think thank you, Mateo, for submitting that.
Yeah.
We were going to vote today to approve the plans for the gazebo.
Yep.
Then I would I want to present it to the to the buildings commission so that we can get their approval. Not that we need it, but it would help.
Yeah, and I should add, I have not yet submitted that grant request to the CPA because I figured, well, for one thing, I want to make sure that the amount of money that I presented is coming from the historical commission is correct, because I don't know how much money we have. So I just put the $1,000 in as a guess. But the other reason, Bert, is for this this very point that you raise about it would be, I think, really helpful for the CPA application to be able to say that the building committee has seen the plans and signed off on it. So I think that should happen before we send it to the CPC committee.
Yeah, I mean, if we're all in agreement to go ahead with the gazebo, then I would go to the buildings committee and show them the plans.
Mhm.
So we want a motion then to say it again.
How much is the gas?
The gap. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
The cost of the gazebo?
That's what you're waiting for, is it?
Well, no, the finances, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about this if you like. Well, actually, Matteo has a better angle on it than I
So
do.
Yeah, so based off of the information that Bert provided, which does include tax, as Leslie pointed out, the town doesn't pay tax, but I figure that that additional money should probably stay in the budget because the cost of everything is going up and it'll be important to have a little contingency. The entire cost of the gazebo is 11,300. 7,000 of that is coming from non-CPA funds, most of which is the donated labor of the architect in the construction. So we have 1,000 coming from the historical commission. We have 4,300 coming from the CPA, which, you know, the CPA spends a lot of money on historical projects, given the nature of the applications that we have received. But $4,300 for the CPC is not.
Mhm.
It's not unreasonable. It's a completely workable amount. I think the real question, and the fact that there's so much donated cost, I think goes a long way towards making a compelling case for CPA funding, because the matching funding is really important. So the in-kind labor is really great. The real question is how much can the historical commission afford? And I feel comfortable saying that, if 1,000 is too much for the historical commission, shifting some of it over to the CPC is not unreasonable, but whatever we can to try to show the rest of the CPC committee that, the commission is invested in this project, it's going to go a long way.
Well, Henry, you were going to get back to us with
Yeah.
what the status is on our accounts, so we have some idea of what we have to work with.
Exactly. And I met with her name escapes me. She's the town accountant.
Gail
Gail, is it?
Weiss?
Gail Weiss.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And we went over the budget for the account for the commission. And as it currently stands, we're just over $11,000. That's what we have on balance after having allocated, in a sense, right, the money, the initial monies for the guide board repairs. And
So is that from which accounts is that? Because we have a couple different accounts, right? We have like the yearly budget.
yeah,
We have the funds
me-
that have been sort of collected and fundraised and stuff in the past.
yeah,
And any other sort of, I thought their friends had donated 1,000 for the guide board. I'm not positive Leslie would be able to help with that.
yeah, it's a very I actually had to meet with her to go over the account because I couldn't make sense of the there's so many different accounts that we're involved in.
And the Schmidt account, that's
Yeah,
a separate account.
yeah. Well, rather than try and remember all of this stuff, let me see if I can share it with you.
Yeah, just so I understand where they're coming from, and go ahead.
Janice, I do not believe that the Schmidt is a separate account. That my understanding is Historical Commission has an operating budget that was $300 a year back when 2017. So it's probably gone up incrementally, but not much.
Okay,
Then they have the fund that they put everything into, from Eleanor Schmidt to fund to anything that when I was town clerk, if people used to insist on paying me, I'd put it in that account.
okay.
So everything should be in there. Now maybe Gail Weiss, the accountant, broke out I honestly don't remember what the Friends gave without looking it up
Yeah,
for the guide board.
Mm.
But Gail, I know Gail Weiss, the accountant, will know whether that's included or not. But that's all that we have. And then the
Okay.
Friends, of course, have nothing at this point but a little seed
Yep.
money for
Right.
project.
Can
okay,
everybody see this?
yeah,
Hmm.
it's a little big to see all the way across.
Yeah, can you read
Okay.
that? Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so here's the ledger. You can see going across, across the top, budget encumbered. That would be the monies that have been brought forward but have not been allocated, which would be column number 3. So you can see there, repair and restore guide board on town common, that's $10,000 been allocated, so that's pretty much
Okay.
bound up. You got the gift from the, sorry, let me point it out, the gift.
That's from the Friends, I'm guessing.
That's
Yeah,
from the Friends, yep.
okay,
And let's see, we got this account here for the West Cemetery gravestones.
Actually, that's wrong. That's run by the Cemetery Commission.
There
Right.
you go. That's what makes this confusing.
Yes,
yeah,
But anyway, it does not affect us in any way. You will see there are lots of other accounts here. Some of them are still in being spent. If you look down, let's see, going down here, restore West Cemetery gravestones. That was through us, I believe. Or not?
I see.
No?
But
No.
it's for the Cemetery Commission to spend, not for us to spend.
Exactly. I think Janice was on top of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was on both commissions, but the money was to be spent for the cemetery. It came
Now-
through Schwab.
And then I assume this is related. I don't know.
No, the Hearst House was before my time. That's Leslie's time.
Okay.
That was about the second CPA project ever.
Mm-hmm.
That should be down to 0.
Okay. Old Town Hall structural repairs. Of course, we don't have that kind of money.
Yeah, where's that? So what is that?
The-
Is that in the
the-
wrong place?
The $1,000 the Friends gave to the Historical Commission for repair, well,
This is 34,000 though. Hey,
Yeah,
Liz.
yeah, 34,000.
Oh, you can't see it on your phone. It says
Yes, I
34.
can.
Oh, okay, good, okay.
yeah, somebody needs to,
Oof.
Gail Weiss is probably just, I don't know how she's arranging this, but
Well-
yeah, that would be Buildings Committee money, I
Yeah,
think, or maybe it
yeah.
came from CPA.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is all code 210, which is community preservation.
Yeah.
Aha.
So these must be, I'm not sure why this was presented as historical commission money. This is,
Well, this is
Yeah.
it. They
These are-
don't. Yeah, they don't disaggregate our account from the rest of them because we're kind of meshed in with other folks. But I
Mhm.
think the bottom line is this: if you look at, we have some gifts here, not much. West Schoolhouse gift, again, $1,500. That's from the Friends as well. You see this here? West Schoolhouse gift
Yeah,
repairs and maintenance. That's from the Friends.
Yep.
And right?
Yes, I was thinking that'll probably be swallowed right up when they get to repairing the
Yeah,
corner, or may already have been swallowed up on the roof. I don't know.
Right. But I think the bottom line is down here. Oh, sorry. Here we go. Historical Commission encumbered $17,795. Allocated, I guess that would include some of the gifts. And we've spent 8,656 of that, leaving.
I don't follow that. I still don't see some of that doesn't make sense to me. the cemetery historic preservation gift, that was from the Friends? To the Cemetery Commission?
Where,
The third from the bottom, cemetery historic preservation gift expense 3,000.
You know, I asked Gail this question and she said, oh, it's probably something that was encumbered a while back and is still on the ledger. Or they haven't completed it or it's in process.
why would-
I think we've got to talk
I-
with
a
Gail and
mess.
maybe include Walter. Yeah, I don't think Gail understands all
Yeah.
the different departments very
Yeah.
well. I think if Walter saw that we've got all this money, he'd be a little, I think he's planning on using it too.
Yeah,
well-
this is a mess,
but-
from what I know of it.
In the end, I guess we have given, we paid part of the repairs, right? In
Yeah,
Williams.
so I think the individual lines that are appropriate to us are fine. But
Yeah.
you can't go with the bottom line because I think that includes other grants and monies that don't belong to the historical commission.
I don't know about that because it is very specific, specifically detailed.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to look at it and add them up,
Yeah.
but, yeah. Just makes me nervous.
Yeah, I don't think it's as rosy as it looks.
Well,
And we're just looking on a screen too.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna ask Gail for a printout of, or maybe you've got, maybe I can just print. Can we save this page or can you email it to us so that we
yeah,
can print it?
sure.
I would like to see it too, because I can compare it to some old printouts that I have and see what was on there before.
I have a
Um,
question. The Leslie mentioned that the some of the money may have gone already to repairing the roof of the school. But I mean, the buildings committee, they just went ahead and started repairing it, and it doesn't seem like we got involved in the decision to do that, or we were not asked for money either. So how does that work?
good
They have
question.
their own funds and sometimes they don't know about our funds and if they want to pay for it, let them.
Okay.
But we need to understand if they're using these funds or not.
Yeah,
Well,
but they couldn't use these funds without us knowing about it, right?
no,
I
no,
think you'd have to vote to
No.
release
Yeah.
them.
at least, you know, when I left Gale, you know, we came to the conclusion that this was the remaining balance in our account, 10,916.
And that doesn't, and we have already paid for the signpost repair?
Have
That's
we
taking
paid,
out,
right?
is that 10,000 or 11,000 that it took out today?
It's I think it's around 8,000.
That we paid already?
Oh, paid already.
We paid, right, Mattel? We paid.
For the first phase.
First phase.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the budget for that.
So we don't know how much we owe them, or?
Some point,
I believe our commitment as a historical commission was 10,000 of that.
So the award from CPA funds to the historical commission was 10,000.
okay.
The historical commission's portion was I'm saying that's the grant agreement. Look at the application.
Was it 7,000 or something?
So there was a $5,000 matching grant, of which, yeah, all 5,000 came from the historical commission, with to be determined from the Friends. I don't remember what it ended up coming to.
Right.
That was the application that Miriam sent.
So this figure, this debit of 8,656 sounds within the ballpark of what we spent on that guideboard. Yeah. and that was our matching portion. Is that correct?
Well, that's more than what we said. Our matching portion was
5,000. 5,000.
So the money from this CPC went directly to the people repairing the signpost?
it would have gone through Becky. It was been awarded to, well, this is why I think that like this section, where is it? The Community Preservation Code 210. This is why I think that 10, so right there, yeah, repair and restore guide board. Oop,
Mhm.
it thinks it's a phone number.
Oh.
But that line item that you're on, that is the $10,000 that was transferred from the CPA account
Yeah,
to the Historical Commission to then go to Williamstown.
And did it already go?
it looks like only $1,214 went, right?
I mean, I don't see what happens to that money. You know, the CPC doesn't see it. After the grant agreement is issued, it's all administered by Becky. So
Well, that's what yeah, you're right. I mean, look at that. This is where it's discounted here as $1,214.
so there's still, yeah, so a portion of that has not been paid. And I think that that's because I believe Williamstown didn't take the full amount up front. I think it was we paid a portion, the town paid a portion when we dropped the guide board off. And then there was a portion due after the work is completed. I don't remember the amounts though.
Yeah,
But I think
Well,
all the things that are under Group 1, Segment 1 Fund Code 210,
Yeah.
that's all CPA money that the Historical Commission has secured. So I don't know
well,
why the historic gravestones is then,
right,
that was from the Cemetery Commission.
right. Yes, and I told them long ago to put it otherwise, and they said, "Oh, we're just keeping it here, but we know where it belongs." And
The only
I don't like that approach.
the only possible explanation I can think of is, so each of the designated CPA categories has its own fund number.
Uh-huh.
So there's a separate fund for open space recreation, a separate fund for community housing, separate for historical preservation. And because the Cemetery Commission applied for historical preservation funds, I wonder if Code 210 there is any CPA projects that are historical preservation, whether they come from the Historical Commission or any other town
Yeah.
body.
That makes sense.
That is exactly right.
Uh-huh.
They've got everything jumbled in here.
So some of that is money that the Historical Commission has been awarded and spent on things, and some of it is from others.
So like on this page, I don't see the grant from the Schmidt, but that was last year, so maybe it doesn't, but it would have come in. I don't know if it's July or when. Leslie, do you know when those Schmidt donations would come in? Was it within the same fiscal year as the year we're out there, or is it usually later? I thought it was later. Anyway, I don't see that either.
So do
I'm
we
sorry,
know-
I have a hard time finding the mute sometimes, but
Oh,
this is so different, Janice, from my experience years ago.
yeah,
That I do believe that Mateo has to be involved in the conversation with the accountant because he really understands the CPA portion of it.
yep,
I agree with you. I do not see where my experience, and it's almost 10 years ago now, was that we got one amount maybe in the summer. And then at the end of the year, when they were closing out their books, if there was extra, we would get a second amount.
okay.
But
You're
really,
right. We often got 2 checks.
Yep.
Yeah,
Let's also keep in mind that we're getting another check for $1,500 for participating in the Quabbin event.
well, we don't know how much it'll be until we get it.
Okay.
And that's the Schmidt
that's the Schmidt fund.
Jan is discussing.
Yeah.
But I will send you all a copy of this.
Okay,
Perfect.
But I think really, yeah, when I walked into her office, she already actually knew that she mentioned that we were, you know, budgeting for the canopy for the guide board.
gazebo, yeah.
Gazebo. Yeah, she already knew.
Mhm.
She must have spoken to somebody. Somebody must have mentioned it to her. I didn't have to explain anything to her, and we went through this, and I thought, this is very confusing.
Mhm.
So, yeah, what I don't understand is, the, the town gets the CPC money and they pay directly to the people that are fixing the signpost. But then we have to pay our share too, or did we already give that to the town to use for that? Well,
Mhm.
how do we know how much money we have if we don't know how much we owe from our
Yeah.
share of the payment for the repairs?
Yeah. Right, do we pay separately, or since the money that we were approved for with CPA is in one of our accounts?
Yep.
So does the historical commission get a bill that then they approve the payment of? Or is that all just done through the select board or CPA somehow?
Well, as Leslie mentioned, in the past, we had a separate account, and we could insist on that. I mean, this is, it's very hard to tell. I added up the numbers. The debit of 8,014 there. Where it's where are we? 8,656.
Yeah,
How do we account for that? Given what we've been allocated here, 19,000.
So moving forward, how do we sort this out?
Well, as I said, I'll send you a copy, and
yeah,
I think we should insist that we get this disaggregated for us, our account. It, you know,
yeah, so maybe like, especially, Leslie and I and Mateo, we've been dealing with some of these things in the past. It looks like there's different format, and maybe there is a different way for her to print out specific stuff for the historic commission. I don't know, counting changes, and each accountant does things differently. But we just want to make sure she understands, or that we can also understand what is actually historical commission and what is historical projects done by the cemetery commission or whatever, that's separated somehow there.
no,
Or
And-
that CPA money that was awarded
Yes.
to the historical commission for something specific, and is that being lumped into that 10,960
Mm,
there? Does that include the money that hasn't been spent on the guide board yet, or other things?
yeah, yeah. We just need some clarification on it, but I think I need to look it over for a bit to think about it.
We'll send it to you.
Would it be, I don't know, maybe would it be helpful to ask if Gail could actually attend like the next historical commission meeting and walk us through
Hmm.
what the spreadsheet is saying, and to like give us like a plain text breakdown of?
Yeah, why don't we do? I don't know what her schedule is. I don't know if she works at night. I don't, anything, but I will ask
Okay,
for our next meeting.
okay.
All right.
Another question, I think it was Mateo, you said that the town doesn't pay taxes.
Correct.
So if we get the funding for the cupola or the gazebo, I mean, do we then have to go to a place where the town has an account, or does the town
The town has a tax exempt number,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
I don't know at this point if they just hand it out to anybody. It used to be that way. I
Yeah.
still carry it around in my wallet, but they
Mhm.
may be more protective of it now. And you make sure at the time of sale that the business that you're working with can accept your tax exempt number. And if
Uh-huh.
they need a letter from the town or anything, you need to know that ahead of time. Because if you get taxed, the town will not pay the tax. They cannot. It's illegal. Gail will not pay it. And
Okay,
like if you fund it yourself and the tax is on there, you swallow the tax.
but I guess what I want to know is, it sounds like Becky is making the payments to the people in Williamstown.
We don't know. Does it really
Well-
show up that way?
Well,
She's the one who gave me the check to bring when I brought the guide board.
Okay.
So if we get money for the gazebo, is it gonna happen the same way? I tell them where to make the payment to, and they make the payment?
I think the historical commission should have a treasurer who keeps his or her own ledger.
I think so
And,
too.
you know, excuse me, at the start of the fiscal year, you take that $360 operating and then
Yeah.
keep track of what you spend in operating. You get from Gail how much we've got in that account, what we've come to call the Eleanor Schmidt account, because
Yeah.
that's certainly the biggest contribution to it. And the CPA funds that are designated for the historical commission to use on historical commission projects are in a third category, and then you just keep track of them. And
Yeah.
I do believe that Gail may be mixed up, or maybe, like you said, Mateo, that or somebody said that she has a different coding system, or a different system of arranging things now, and anything 210 is CPA, but that doesn't, I understand that part, but it doesn't, CPA gives money to more people than historical commission. And it
Yep.
seems like we've been given, maybe Gail just misunderstands and thinks the cemetery stones are our project, but they're not.
no, I think she did mention that these are, different projects, some of them. You know,
Different projects, yes, we all agree on that, but does she understand that
Mhm.
the funds are managed, my understanding that each department submits a warrant every time they have a bill come in.
Yeah.
And it's very confusing for me. I do understand that maybe Becky was just trying to make it easy for you, Mateo, and
Yeah.
she got the check. I think she got it out of the regular sequence even. Because
Yeah.
every 2 weeks you submit warrants for any bills, or if you're a paid employee, you put in your timesheet. And as I say, I think historical commission should have someone should be keeping track of our funds, your
Mhm.
funds,
I
not
think
mine,
so.
but.
Yeah.
And then maybe I know Gail too, someone asked her schedule. I know she's typically at the town hall on Tuesdays. I don't know that, it seems like she should be able to zoom in on an evening meeting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I'll arrange that, and for the next, well, I'll find out when she's available, and maybe schedule
Sounds good.
around her availability.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a critical piece, and we should be thinking about a potential treasurer here, if this is the direction we want to go in. Yeah, I didn't realize it was so complicated.
Mhm.
And ultimately, I don't think it is. It's just that we're in with so many other things here.
Well, when Miriam and I at different times were working on it and we compared notes and stuff, it was confusing then too. Okay, so we don't really know for sure exactly how much money we have to spend.
Well, the optimistic view is that we have about 10 grand, but
Mm. And so in the meantime, the last time we had the discussion whether to go ahead and do the project this summer and pay the 4,000 whatever for the supplies, but it seems like it's more likely to be better, especially if we don't have a lot of funds, to postpone the building of the gazebo until we submit the CPA proposal and hopefully get that funded to cover a lot of the costs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
James, I also don't think we have a choice at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
then maybe we can, when we're through the financial part, go back to what Bert was saying about voting to approve the plan so he can move forward with the building committee and stuff.
Yeah, I guess the only issue there is that Bart mentioned that this Greco fella may not be available in the future. That any thoughts on that, Bert?
Well, Henry, I think he will be available if he has the health
Right.
and there's no reason. I mean, I think he should be.
Yeah,
It's just you never know.
Right.
exactly. Yeah, we're all in that kind of situation.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so stay tuned.
So do we all agree? I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. Do we all agree that a gazebo is a good idea?
Well,
Oh,
if
yeah.
you want, we can vote on it. I don't think we actually voted on it, even
Right.
though even though the select board is well aware of our intentions. But it'd be good to vote on it, just to have it on in the minutes.
Yeah, the plans stuff.
Yep. So, anybody want to make a motion there? Oh, yeah. Karen has a question.
Question, did the transportation of the guide board get paid already?
I believe it did. Yes. Yes.
And I wondered if that was part of the total cost of the repairing of the board. And we need extra money for the cupola there. The protection of the when we bring it back.
You mean for transportation? Yes. Yeah, I don't think it came to very much, but yeah, there will. Yeah, I believe Matteo paid that. Yes.
There was part of the expense of repairing.
The transportation costs were $200 for the U-Haul, the gas, and the supplies.
She's asking if that was part of the budget for the repairs.
It was not in the application we got from the Williamstown Conservation Center because they said that we were responsible for transportation.
Yeah.
I think it was included in the CPA application, though.
Uh,
I think.
Did you get reimbursed for that or not?
I did. Yep.
Okay, good.
Is that answer your question there, Karen? Well, it wasn't a part of the grant, if that's what you're asking, I believe. So that must have come out of our own budget.
Well, I wondered. And then I heard that it was $22,000 total for the board.
So
Go
The-
ahead.
the work that the Williamstown Art Conservation Center is doing now, that project is $17,000 and a little bit more. Because we went with the option that was not 46,000 or whatever. And that's what the select board approved because the select board owns it. So yeah, the treatment costs are 17,312. 10,000 of that was CPA funding, was the grant that we got. 5,000 was from the historical commission and the balance was from the Friends and fundraising.
I would think you could take the 200 or transportation out of operating. I doubt that they've been using operating this year.
Operating.
That's a good idea. The regular budget, the $360.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know where it came from. I know it already came out of I mean, I'm assuming it already came out because I was reimbursed for it in January.
I don't
Yeah.
see it here on this form.
Yeah, it
That's a
doesn't
good
show up
idea,
here.
though.
It doesn't show up here, as far as I can tell. Huh?
I didn't see it, but the screen's hard to read.
Yeah,
No, it's definitely not here. For there's nothing under $1,000 here.
Yeah, we need to talk with Dale and understand things better. And
Yeah.
we're right at the end of the fiscal year. I happen to be going away right through the end of the year now, so I can't be helpful to you. But this is stuff that needs to get cleared up, I
Yeah.
would think, right away.
Yeah. So you spoke. When are you leaving, Leslie?
About 3 a.m. Friday morning for a week.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
That's great. No, but you'll be back then.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I'm just saying, I always, when I was in a more running the town clerk's office, I always made sure I'd spent all the money I needed to and had everything in order. They
Mm,
do, she does allow for, I forget what it's called. But she does allow a week or two. And
Uh-huh.
since it was spent back in January, it's just a matter of us understanding, if she took it out of somebody else's department, great, but we just don't see it here in this
Yeah.
budget.
We need a little more clarity.
Yeah,
Need some clarity here. Well, it's been a good discussion, and
Okay.
we will get Gail to attend the meeting as soon as possible.
Well, we'll have to figure out what our next meeting is or whatever, I suppose.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could make it sooner than later just to deal with this. I think it's that crucial.
Well, let's let the rest of us get a copy of this so we can
Yeah.
go over it and really understand it.
All right. So we'll hold off on setting a date then. Or maybe we can have a tentative date and
Okay.
see if Gail will accommodate.
Yeah. Or if we need to hold a special one, like on a Tuesday night or something, if that's the only time that she's willing to do it, whatever her work hours are,
I'll ask her to give us some
Okay.
dates.
Okay.
Okay.
So we need a language for a vote.
Vote.
Bert, did you have something? I think you've sort of been thinking about it a bit. So do you have some language on what to vote to approve?
Well, just, I would like to move that we approve the plans for the building the gazebo, as as was delineated in the information that I sent all of you.
Okay.
Okay. Second.
I'll second it. Okay, whatever.
So going around, Zervanka. We're approving moving ahead with the project, the plans to build a canopy to protect the. No, we discussed the amount already. Didn't we just discuss that?
It's what, about a 4,000 something for the supplies?
4,800 for the supply,
4,800. Okay.
Yeah, we
Yes.
went over this.
500 for a backhoe, right, Mateo? That's what we put in there.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the total though is
Total. So the total, including the in-kind labor, was 11,300, but that includes the in-kind labor, which came to about 6,000. The cost to the historical commission is 1,000. The cost for the CPA grant that we're asking for is 4,300.
Okay.
so
Thank you.
But also, like, I think that we should do a separate vote after the building committee is signed off. We should do a separate vote on requesting the grant application. I think right now we're just voting on the
Okay.
plan for the gazebo.
Push that forward to the building committee and start getting other support or questions or whatever is needed.
I mean, or we could vote on the grant application now saying, you know, that we won't submit it until we have, you know, support from the building committee, which means we might have to go back and revise, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
that way I could at least send it as soon as we hear from the buildings committee.
And we'd have a chance to maybe reapportion the amounts, you know, how much we contribute, et cetera.
Yeah, if the $1,000 turns out to be incorrect.
Exactly.
So let's do this first vote just to approve the plans and then do a second vote to propose, forwarding the application once we receive some final numbers or something, final comments or something along that line.
I agree.
Okay, so first up, move, yeah,
Bundle that is going to be total cost of 6,000.
no, no, total cost is 11,000 approximately for the gazebo, the protective cover. And we're tentatively contributing 4,300 of that.
Well, 4,300 is the CPA
CPA.
grant.
Well, the CPA, and then the rest.
Historical Commission is
1,000 is
right now only
commissioners.
1,000.
Yeah,
That's
And the rest is volunteer work.
right.
And so it's not going to cost because it's going to be volunteer work. Around 6,000 of it is volunteer, and 4,300 comes from the community preservation grant that we're going to apply for. Yes, is that correct? Mm-hmm.
For just the gazebo.
Yep.
How much is for the signing board? The board.
Well,
The guide board.
the guide board at the moment it's for the first phase it's 17,000.
But you have to pay more?
Well, we may have to pay more because there's a second phase.
Well, there may be a second phase.
There may be a second phase, but again, we've got a substantial amount from a grant here. It's specified for this purpose. Yeah.
And if there's a second phase, we can also go back for an additional CPA grant. And I will say, I mean, not that this should factor into our decisions, but currently Shutesbury has over $600,000 in CPA funding. So, you know, if the concerns are, if it's a $17,000 project or a $20,000, you know, phase 2 project, we should ask for the funding. We should be applying for that funding because the money is there and this is what it exists for. We don't have, you know, we're not a big city. We don't have tons and tons of historical resources. And so these are the kinds of things that we should be putting the historical preservation CPA funding towards.
Yeah, I think the thing to consider, Karen, is that a lot of this is being funded through a grant that specifically targets this kind of work, historical preservation work. And secondly, that we've contracted with a professional outfit that is going to do a very detailed reparation of the guide board, and so the select board is fully aware of what we're doing, and they've signed on to it.
Okay, if they approved it, then
Yep.
we should approve it, I guess.
Well, we don't need to. It's already in the works.
And the money's there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see now. Moving on. Oh, let's vote.
Yes, let's vote.
I was distracted there, right? So, first vote is to approve the design for and building of the protective covering for the guide board.
Yeah, okay,
Is that correct?
yeah,
Yes.
And it's for 11,000.
No. Well, yes, that's correct. That's what we've budgeted for it.
Okay.
Yep. So,
so Karen, I think you were asking her for her vote.
okay, we got the motion. Did we have to?
Yes.
Yes,
Great. Zervanka.
Yeah.
Okay,
Aye.
alrighty. Fernandez.
Aye.
Geddes, aye. Pangal.
Aye.
Stone.
aye,
Okay, it passes.
good. And now do a second one relating to submitting a proposal to the CPC to help fund this work or something. Mateo, what do you think for?
Well, I mean, if it were just an issue of waiting for their an endorsement from the buildings committee, I think that it would be good to vote on it. But because there's still a question about how much the historical commission can commit to
Oh.
the project, I don't want to be like fiddling with the numbers
Mhm,
after the commission has voted on
okay,
so
okay.
not quite sure how I would work around that.
So we'll just wait for now
Oh,
and,
then we wait. And then,
okay,
you know, once we get Gail's input and, but
okay,
in the end, as Matteo was saying, we could very possibly ask for more from on the CPA grant. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for the CPC, but I would say the fact that more than 50% of this project, even without the historical commission's portion, is essentially matching funding in the form of the in-kind contribution.
Yep.
That already checks that box pretty well. So whether or not the commission is putting in $1,000 or $500, based off of what it can afford, that's a minor change, I think, in the total grant amount. Not that
Mhm.
that's not a lot of money, but based on the amount of CPA funds we have available to us.
Okay, so we'll hold off on that vote. Moving on, Schoolhouse, West Schoolhouse. Don't believe there's any update on that.
No, since the last meeting, I went over there with Stephen Damas and finished patching the inside. And I assumed that they were gonna go back then and take the metal thing off and replace it with shingles.
okay.
Yep. Go ahead.
Mhm. Anything else on it? No? All right,
I
Uh,
think the total is the same.
okay, following that, this issue came up, Matteo brought up this question of protecting historical items on public property, and this came up because our chief Burgess apparently received a request by someone who wanted to go out and do a little treasure hunting with their what do they call that
Metal detecting. Yeah.
metal detector. It was unclear to me what they meant by public property. I mean, town property, I guess, is what we're talking about.
Yeah, Chief Burgess didn't say. This was in late May. She and I were having a conversation about something else, and she brought this up. because this person had asked her about any town rules regarding metal detecting and excavating historic items on public property, which I guess means like town common, or hopefully not the cemeteries, but
Yeah.
any property that's owned by the town. And she wanted to know whether or not I mean, she knew the town didn't have any bylaws for it because there's nothing on the books for it, but whether the historical commission had any policies or anything.
Indeed, we do. We had,
course.
we've had metal detecting people on our town common before digging, and we at one point had a policy, and I think it was select board approved, that there would be no digging on the town common. Of course, then with Celebrate Shutesbury, there'd be tents and stuff, but I guess the town can violate their own rules. But
Yeah.
yeah, it can become quite a thing. They've found old, military buttons and things. They're pretty hard to stop. You have to be there. I know one person went around, I heard third hand, and saw some of the materials, went around to different cellar holes, mostly on town of Amherst reservoir property and Cole's property, and was digging up all kinds of stuff. But the only thing we ever did was for the town common.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, like the Coles property, because it's private property. They're separate regulations, right? Like
Exactly.
there's only so much we can say about that. I did inquire with the State Historical Commission, and there are state laws, mass general laws, as well as CMRs about they're not allowed to do any without a permit from the state archaeologist, regardless of local rules. Nobody is allowed to what's the phrase they use? Conduct field investigations or destructive archaeological field investigations, which I guess means digging on any property owned by the Commonwealth or any of its political subdivisions, which is towns, without a permit from the state archaeologist. So, I mean, not only is there a town, I mean, it sounds like there's a town policy, but also it's a state law that they can't be doing it. Which I guess means we don't need a bylaw for it, but I wonder if it would be a good idea to put it up on the website and maybe ask. I mean, we definitely want to make, I mean, I forwarded that to Chief Burgess already, but I think letting the police be aware of it, because obviously they would be the ones enforcing it, and then putting it up online so it's clear for people. I don't know
idea.
what to do.
Yeah.
One of my favorite conservation areas was attacked by stupid metal detecting people, and they dug holes all over the place and didn't fill them either. They just left holes all over the place at Chard Pond there off of River Road in Sunderland. It was horrible.
Yeah.
That's state land.
Leslie, you have your hand up.
No, I think it's me trying to,
Oh.
I'm trying to mute and take my hand down. I didn't realize I'd put it up. Sorry. Just ignore me. I keep pressing the button, and every once in a while it responds, and the rest of the time I'm just wasting your time.
Well,
I have nothing more to say.
Okay. Well, just as an observation, I think that there are detailed guidelines for fieldwork, archaeological fieldwork, but somehow I got the sense that this kind of treasure hunting may not constitute fieldwork precisely. Again, that they're in the slippage, and these people can go and ask, and if they get permission from the town authority or from DCR or whoever, then it tends to happen.
The state law makes it sound like they can't even get permission from the town. It's really not even up to us. They'd have to get a permit from the state archaeologist.
Yeah.
So even if we said, yeah, we're fine with it, they'd still have to go through additional hoops. Not that I imagine we would be saying, go ahead and loot the place, but
yeah.
And it's so hard to verify what people are doing. I mean, the landscape is huge.
Yeah.
You need cameras everywhere.
I like the idea of posting it somewhere where people will be able to see it on the website and making sure the police know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
I
good
think
idea.
that makes sense.
So I would like to make a motion that we adopt some language either from the state archaeologists or from the policy that Leslie mentioned on the
Which I don't know where it is right now.
but we put some language on the historical commission website, and we asked the police also to either post it or at least have it on hand, clarifying the rules and regulations, the state and local ones, about excavating or searching to excavate on public property.
Would it be helpful to maybe make that available or make people aware who would be giving the permission? I mean, who would you go to for permission in town to go?
Town manager of the board, select board, I don't know. There's
But
some
again,
town authority.
I don't even think like the select board can give permission for it.
No, but I mean, if they should know about the state
Yeah.
regulation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah, I think that we should, and it's on our shoulders to make sure
Yeah.
that they're aware of this.
I think that makes sense. And
Yeah.
we might even do a little article for a town newsletter at some point, by the way,
idea.
you know.
Yeah.
That sort of thing too.
I do have a feeling a lot of these people are probably out of towners who are
Mm-hmm.
sweeping
Yeah.
around from place to place. And I mean, that's the thing is like the kind of people that would abide by this rule are the kind of people that like don't really have to be told to do it. Not that that's a reason not
Yeah.
to have the law, right? That some people are going to violate it, of course, but the
Mhm.
best we can do is make them aware of it, make sure the police know about it, and then also let the select board and town administrator know that they can't unilaterally give out permission to people to dig on these properties.
Yeah, it's a good idea. So is that a proposed wording for a vote then?
It was a very long motion, wasn't it?
Adopt some language from the state archaeology or Mass Historical, whatever, or the historical commission's policy to be put on the commission website, and also to ask the police to post and clarify about excavating on public property, something
Yeah.
along that line.
And to publicize to the general public through
Okay,
whatever means, to the select board, to the town administrator.
okay,
So everybody's on the same page.
May I, before we vote on
Yep.
something like this, I read several documents here where, local authorities can give permission. I guess what we're saying is that local authority is saying somehow there's an agreement here that of course there is regarding town common, but I think that we don't want to tread on any legal
uh-huh,
grounds here. The historical society certainly has certain guidelines, but as I said, I will circulate some other documents for you to look at
okay,
where this is again there's slippage here, and I guess I want to be cautious about issuing a dictate that may have some legal problems that I will send those documents.
Okay. okay, we can review them.
Yeah, I think it might be safer that way because I mean some of these some of these organizations are not in communication. I mean, if you go to DCR, you can actually get permission to do this kind of thing on DCR property. That's what it says on their website.
Huh.
And I believe there's another document that I read that it's really up to the town, but I guess the town needs to have maybe it should have a policy on this. I'm not sure it's up to us as a commission to issue it from this perspective, from the the archaeological perspective.
Well, I think that maybe if this is a legal question, then, before we post anything, and I can send to the rest of the, everybody else, the historical commission here, the language that I got from the Mass Historical Commission,
Okay.
pointing to the Mass General laws. But if it's a question about sort of legal authority, then maybe before we start posting things, we see if we can get
Yeah,
confirmation from town council or some,
yeah,
some
Legal
authority.
authority, and I will circulate these documents.
okay,
With that, because I was curious about it myself.
okay. That sounds like a good idea. We'll wait on the vote and we'll read the materials and
Yeah.
do some homework.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, up,
good idea.
up next,
Membership.
membership. Nobody's coming to our meetings. I guess we need to have a party or something. Um, yeah, I spoke to a couple of people. They said, "Oh, yeah, it sounds interesting. Come to our meeting," but haven't shown up. So,
So I met with one person who expressed an interest in, she's a new Shutesbury resident, and she has a background in libraries and archives, and expressed an
yeah.
interest in the digitizing and archiving, or digitizing of town archives, part of the project. I told her about tonight's meeting, told her it'd be great if she could come by, but I didn't really get any sense
Yeah.
whether she or not. I can certainly follow up with her and see if she's still interested in doing this. But yeah, that's the only person I've spoken to.
Okay.
is she? She hasn't contacted you, or?
We met once and we had a great conversation, and
Mhm.
I filled her in about how straightforward the work is and how important it is, and I told her I
That's
thought
good.
her qualifications would be a great fit given the kind of stuff that we were thinking about doing at the archives.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, we once about 6 years ago we had someone with this precise background,
Mhm.
but she had to leave. I don't know what happened to her. She left. She got busy. I don't know.
I think she had 2 small children and it got to be too much trying to juggle anything besides the 2 small kids in her regular life.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, I'm thinking in the background about fundraising and although just getting out a little more, you know, something about the historical commission and other than the thing that we have in September, the Celebrate Shutesbury, is there anything else that's coming up that would be a town event that we should have a table or do signs or something? Try to sell some of the material that Mateo is holding now. I'm willing to help with some of that if we can figure out an appropriate venue
Well,
or
I mean,
opportunity.
town meeting would have been a good opportunity for it, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Or
if there's one this fall, we can do it. Yeah.
Shutesbury Day. Shutesbury Day.
Yeah, the Celebrate Shrewsbury thing in
Mm.
September, October, whatever it is.
The other thing too is we could organize an outing, and
Mhm.
people would sign up. I don't know if we could visit some sites. That might attract some people. I don't know.
The cemetery commission said at some point that they were thinking about doing a tour of the West Cemetery, of like, these are some of the important figures, their history, and like just sort of
Cool.
a little walking tour around the cemetery. I don't think anything ever came of it. I feel like it was maybe just a hollow promise to the CPC in order to get money, but but I don't know, maybe something like that, if something that the historical commission could do in terms of like historical tour of Shutesbury or
Oh.
famous stories from Shrewsbury history.
Mm.
Yeah, we may not get actual volunteers, interested people, but it's a start. I mean, people would get a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Any thoughts on that? Or we'd have to plan it. It'd have to be planned. Maybe at some point when the weather gets better. Talk about that.
Yeah, we'll have to think about ideas.
Mhm. right. And open meeting law and public documents. You know, I guess Matteo must have attended one of these.
I found out at the last minute about the All Towns meeting through somebody who knew about it and was surprised that I didn't know about it. Um, but the all board meeting, yeah. So I did end up going to it.
Uh-huh.
I found out after the day after. I didn't check my mail, but they'd sent me an email the week, like a few days before.
Ah,
So,
Yes.
but I think they were well aware that some people were not on the mailing list. So they sent the documents that I forwarded to you. Yeah, regarding open meeting law and the public documents, right?
did they make a decision? I know at one point there was a select board meeting to talk about whether Zoom meetings could continue. So is that still okay on the town level and still okay on the state level?
Yeah,
So that
I can report on that.
Okay.
Well, unless Mateo's got something to say about it.
Well, I'd say that was the bulk of the hour and a half meeting. Like
Oh.
about an hour of it was taken up with an explanation and then discussion about the like 5 or 6 different conflicting bills before the state legislature
Oh.
regarding allowable forms for municipal meetings. And basically, the sense that I got from the meeting was that the select board wanted to essentially hear from folks, straw poll them to hear what the different boards and committees were thinking about the different bills and what their preferences would be.
Oh.
Because they are, it sounds like one way or another, the remote option is going to persist. There was a lot of concern about the fact that the bill that had the most co-sponsors, including one of the co-sponsors is the Speaker of the House, who has a lot of power, would require hybrid meetings
Oh.
and require cameras on for meetings. And there's a lot of discussion about the existential threat that presents
Yeah.
for small boards in terms of trying to recruit people, how it's problematic because to be hybrid, it means you need to literally have somebody physically at town hall for that
Mhm.
part of the meeting. And in the winter, that could be a real issue. And so there was a lot of resistance to the requirement that they be
Good.
hybrid. Most of the support was there are several bills, including one that Joe Comerford was co-sponsoring, that would make hybrid or remote meetings available or an option, basically, for committees, as determined by be up to the committee to decide how they want to meet.
Okay, thank you.
And yeah, just to follow up on that, I did have an email exchange with Becky and expressed I spoke for you. I
Mhm.
told her that we wanted to continue on remote and that we needed the phone patch as well.
What's the phone patch?
The possibility for people to phone in.
Ah,
I
okay.
mean, those are two separate things that,
Okay.
yeah. And she noted it and she passed it on to the select board.
Okay.
And that is something that came up actually at the meeting, that there were a lot of people talking about the affordances of accessibility for people with technological limitations in their home, but also like time constraints, families, mobility constraints, and how being online sort of makes it obviously easier for those people to get involved. There was a lot of pushback against hybrid also because of the quality of the technology at town hall. I don't know if you tried to like tune in for a select board meeting when they do the hybrid meetings, but it's really hard to hear.
Terrible. Yeah.
And so there were concerns about that, as well as then the technological the cost of the technology to upgrade that technology to make it suitable. Several people expressed concerns about space constraints. If there are 4 or 5 committees meeting hybrid form, there need to be 4 or 5 places for them to physically meet in the building. So yeah, I think that what Henry said about what works for us seemed to be what most of the other people said. And there, you know, there were other voices. There were people who said, you know, they miss meeting in person, that when they first moved to town and they served on town boards, it was a great way to meet their neighbors, and it was easier to have a casual conversation and socialize and build relationships. But yeah, I think my great concern is that I think a lot of state legislatures, especially from out east in urban communities, hear hybrid and think, okay, that way the citizens can choose how they want to get involved, which is in theory great, but I think in practice for small rural towns that get a lot of snow, kind of a death sentence for democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know,
Yeah, you mentioned the driving and pollution that we generate.
Yeah.
I mean, the promise of virtual meetings is worth something. Then.
And there's
I definitely see that, and I like the idea of continuing to do Zoom, but couldn't they just say all meetings used to be in person, so how did they do it then?
True.
I-
But for all the reasons mentioned, I mean, it's more convenient to do it this way. I don't know.
I think in response to that question, it's I think if you look at the kinds of people that were able to get involved in town government when meetings were held, dinner time on a weekday night, or when it's bedtime for the kids on a weekday night, they would be people who had cars so they could get to town hall, who were retired and not taking care of kids. I mean, it self-selects for a particular segment of the population. And, I'm not saying that there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but, I think that there are a lot of people in town who would not be able to get involved with town government if it went back to just in person.
Yeah.
We're still having trouble getting people to serve on our commission.
Yeah,
right.
No, I agree.
So, but I think that adding additional potential hurdles probably isn't the solution. And I think that requiring people to meet in person is a hurdle.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, anything else we want to discuss tonight?
I did make a plea, by the way, for members for the historical commission. So.
Oh, good. Thank you.
I just have one. Can somebody clarify what's happening with the Friends of the Historical Commission? Because I last conversation I remember, most of them were quitting or withdrawing from the organization, most of the members.
Good question.
The executive board members, for the most part, stepped down for various reasons. I think Janice Stone is now on the executive board. You have to be a member. I didn't understand earlier, Janice, if you were trying to have a little Friends of the Historical Commission meeting within this meeting, but they are two distinct groups. The private Friends can raise money, whereas
that's true.
the commission cannot raise money, and that's why there are Friends organizations. It's a legal thing, and it was occurring to me, I don't know about the previous president's health. She always did the annual reports. I don't know that she did one this year or not, but I don't even remember. I know you agreed to be on the executive board. Do you remember who else is on there?
I don't know. I think was it
Miriam
just asked me, to
Miriam.
get involved. They needed a name, to put on the report or something. I said, okay.
Okay, Janice, so you're elected. I need a letter.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh,
going forward on that, I guess the question is the future of that organization. But can others of us be members then? I suppose.
yeah. You just pay membership.
Anybody can join, but you
Yeah.
have to pay.
You have to pay. What's the damage?
Well, I don't think it's right, but I was in dispute about it. Lifetime membership was $100. And to me, that didn't make sense that you paid $100 once and you're a lifetime member. It seemed to me like when you get those forms in the mail, I just don't know. But those of us who were on the executive board have paid our $100 and presumably we don't have to pay again. I don't remember what the individual prices were.
I think it was 10, something really, really low
Yep.
for a year,
Yeah.
something like that.
By the way, I just thought I'd mention that I received a check for about $15 for the historical commission, and these are I've got
Oh.
it somewhere here.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
nice.
So people do donate. It's not a huge amount, but
Oh, and that's where we got into the thing. I think because we had to have some place that people could send donations to.
Exactly. Unless
I-
this is someone who wanted to be a member of the Friends organization.
Yeah, and I thought maybe it was determined that for this particular situation, maybe Miriam would do that. Isn't she a member? Now, I guess I need to talk to somebody and find out a list of who are the other friends, and so we can try holding a meeting and get a letter out of support to Bert and do other things, talk about fundraising and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you, Leslie, after some other time and figure out how to start with that.
okay. So maybe
Joan always ran it single-handedly. I give her more credit than I can express. For
Okay,
20 plus years, she held, well, actually the bylaw says she's supposed to meet at least 4 times a year and 4 different, we had 1 meeting a year. She put in the annual reports. She kept everything going.
wow,
So she's the one who knows how to
Okay.
do it.
okay,
I just don't know what her status is
Yeah.
at this.
right. Well, I'll try checking in with her. Okay, thank you.
Right, so our next meeting, I guess I was gonna get back to you to see when
Gail,
Gail is available. Just polling you guys,
Mhm.
is there a day that you can't, well, what days are best? I know Wednesdays are good.
Yeah, Wednesdays are good for me. Thursdays are not.
Okay.
Wednesdays are good for me.
Yeah, me too.
Matteo?
Wednesday would work for me except July 17th.
Okay,
All right.
I could do the 10th or the 24th.
The 10th might be the only one I can't do.
well, let's go for the 24th. That's pretty good with everybody. And if we need to hold a special meeting for some reason before, then we can try to do it.
Yeah, I've got to decide. I'm scheduled to go for another surgery actually on the 22nd
Oh,
of July, which it make it impossible for me to make it on the 24th.
okay. Hmm.
So yeah, any chance we could make a meeting earlier in the month? Let's say, look at the calendar here.
You know, well, who's Bert said he can't do the 10th. I think the
Can't do
3rd,
the
the day before July 4th, might not work.
17th, you can't do it, Matteo. That-
Probably not. Yeah, it would be really hard.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, there's a chance I will postpone it. I haven't decided, actually,
Oh,
but I am scheduled. It's just a
Oh.
question of all kinds of other things happening for me, in which case, yeah, it would take me a week to get over it and
oh, wow.
back on my feet.
What about the 31st? Could we meet on the 31st?
Yep, that would be fine for me.
Yeah,
Yep.
as far as I can tell, that's okay.
Bert?
Yep,
Okay.
that works.
Karen, what do you think? 31st of July for our next meeting?
Wednesday?
It's a
Yes.
Wednesday, yep. Okay, all right, we'll keep that in
Okay.
mind and I'll let you know.
Okay.
All right, so if there's nothing else, I think we can adjourn. Do I hear a motion?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, going around, Zervanka,
Yes.
Fernandez,
Aye.
Geddes, I. Pangalo,
Aye.
Stone.
Hi.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you
Thank
all.
Thank you, everybody.
Ready?
Stay cool.
Okay,
Good night.
good night, bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Karen. Yeah,
From everybody.
yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.